So today I want to talk about what Gon's possible final fight of the series is and why it was likely already set up by Togashi very long ago. And in order to talk about that, we're going to have to go back to the Chimera Ant arc, which is probably the most intense for Hunter x Hunter. And with, of course, many reasons to feel that way. Between the torture, the trauma, the grief, and the twists, it had us all overwhelmed with emotions. But there were still a few things left up in the air, like the surviving ants. But one in particular doesn't seem to be done quite yet, and that is Gyro. But before we can theorize about what he's been up to, we need to take a look at who Gyro is, even before becoming an ant. He was raised in an abusive household by his only parent who worked in construction. He endured his father's drunken behavior for years, believing at least that he loved him despite his violent actions. Until one day he was being badly beaten out in public, and his father just passed by him as if he was a stranger. Gyro realized then that he wasn't loved by the one blood relative in his life, and felt disconnected from his own humanity. For that reason, he decided to become a source of evil in the world, aspiring to spread it as far as he could. But before that, he made sure to kill his father and take whatever savings he had. Now, if you're up to date with the manga, you know that his plans and backstory align quite a bit with what we've seen of Morena's mind and past, including her plans to destroy the Kaken and all of humanity, right? Or is this just how anyone with a dark past turns out in Togashi's universe? But let's get back to Gyro. By age 21, he created the NGL, the Neo Green Life region, and became the unquestioned leader of the official country 9 years later. At the same time, he made sure to participate in shady dealings behind the so-called good image that he showed the rest of the world. In many ways, the Chimera Ants attack helped reveal this deception and take down a major threat to the world, temporarily at least. And no, I don't think the NGL population deserved to be destroyed the way that they were. It's just that Gyro had very harmful plans in mind, and it set his progression back. Even after being consumed by the ants, Gyro became one of them, yet retained his human memories and drive immediately. He sees himself as a true king and intends to accomplish his worldwide terror no matter what. If anything, being taken down like that only encouraged him to pursue his goal as ultimate evil for humanity. But besides currently being a Chimera Ant, known to be extremely strong and dangerous, the fact that Gyro was able to break out of the Queen's control demonstrates a power inside him, or an unmatched darkness from his past. Returning to his chosen path right after being reborn as another species entirely says a lot about his strength of will, one that could possibly match Kurapika's objective to avenge his clan, or maybe even Gon's stubbornness. Still, despite his evil inclinations and anger, Gyro had companions as a human, and those same people followed him as they became ant, with his closest ally being Welfin, formerly known as Zyquihal, when he worked under him. Welfin even risked death by announcing that he only saw Gyro as his king and no one else. Not even Meruem's terrifying aura could change that. While Ikalgo remembered his roots and past, he chose to go a different way instead. With his life permanently changed and his country under the Hunter Association's control now, Gyro may have left for Meteor City, the best place to find other underworld dealings and companions with the same hatred of the world. And Welfin is last seen pursuing Gyro to Meteor City so that he can continue to work alongside him. And he brings Hina and Bizef with him, though it isn't confirmed that Gyro even went there. But anyway, how does this link to Gon? Well, you see, anime adaptations can't always cover every part of an arc, or even all the side characters, because it would just take too long, I guess. And it just so happens right after Killua and Gon encountered Pito and went to Doli City, Gyro was there too. But this isn't mentioned in the 2011 anime, only the manga and the original series. But the narrator still mentions that the two characters missing their chance to meet at that moment, and how it could have been a good or unfortunate encounter if it had played out. Whether this means a massive fight or an inevitable threat to all is being built up, we can't say until we actually get that far. But for any fan who hadn't read the manga, Gyro felt like a random insert for the Chimera Ant arc. Why throw a character in we barely know, barely see, and who doesn't interact with the lead characters? Why even include scenes with him at all if he's not going to come up again. I mean, this guy is straight up like an Oda silhouette character. We still don't even know what he looks like, either human or an ant. But that's the thing. He does matter. The adaptation just didn't feel it was important to include Gyro since he hasn't returned since that arc, and it's widely believed that the 2011 anime was meant to just comprise of the entire series itself, having it as a standalone continuity. But now that we're deep in the Black Whale Voyage and the Succession War arc in the manga, he could certainly come into play again. There's been another hint as to Gyro's existence and possible return, and it takes place in discussion between Jing and Parison. Gon's father is angry as he faces the former Zodiac, knowing that he's harboring ants, and likely up to 2,500 of them. If that doesn't include Gyro, then that might be another problem, but just for fun, let's assume that it does. As much as Gon can be extremely selfish and driven by his own desires, he's not blind to the evils of the world. Gon's not currently on the ship, and neither is Killua, the two boys who just missed Gyro in the past. And what if their reunion becomes a bittersweet reminder of the mistakes they left behind during the Ant events? Also, if you're curious about how Gon and Killua could and might possibly even will show up to the Dark Continent, please check out my former video that I made on this topic. I'll have it linked at the end of this one. But more importantly, what if while everyone else is busy on the Dark Continent, Gyro takes the moment to spread evil like he's always wanted? In that case, it would make sense to have the boys and Alaka back in the known world to try and keep him from destroying everything and everyone. And even though Togashi tends to focus on one place at a time during an arc, could this mean that we get both the events on the Dark Continent and back in the human realm going on simultaneously? It could be a race for time where Gon and Killua have to help delay Gyro while the hunters and strong Nen users on the Dark Continent try to make their way back with Nove and Moral's abilities. Or maybe they'll be too preoccupied with whatever calamities they encounter there to even consider helping back in the home area. And we haven't even touched on the potential of Gyro as a villain yet. As a human, he was limited to human strength and meme. But as a Chimera Ant, and one with such strong willpower, he's already ahead of anyone who isn't a hunter. Not to mention, he didn't know about Nen or the abilities attached to it when he was reborn. But if Welfin finds him as planned and explains the many uses that Nen could provide him, it might be over for the known world. And let's not forget that Nen abilities are influenced by a person's personality and tastes. And if by some twist of Togashi's insane genius, Gyro is classified as a specialist, well, just imagine if someone like Crollo had the strength, speed, and endurance of a Chimera Ant. It would create something like a calamity in the known world, another moment where humanity could face its extinction entirely. That's why I think Gon and Killua will have to intercept him in the near future, before he masters any Nen abilities or realizes his true potential. If nothing else, Nanika will be needed to play a role in keeping Gyro busy. He might even require a whole Zoldyck family reunion, minus Illumi and Kaluto, of course. Before any of that could even happen though, Gon needs to get his Nen abilities back. Otherwise, he's just a strong kid facing the freaking devil himself. Also, there's another video that we did on the channel talking about Saraidanik being the devil, so it seems like we have at least 3 devils in Hunter x Hunter so far. But anyway, at the same time, it's been so many years since Togashi finished writing the Ant arc. And what if he just decided that this plotline isn't going to be pursued after all? We know he plans things way in advance, so it still is possible, but if his health deteriorates again, he might have to skip a storyline that he feels wasn't developed enough to pursue after all. And that just might be Gyro and his hope to spread evil to all humans. Plus, considering parts of Gyro's story were left out in the most recent anime, well, it seems likely, I guess, but definitely have hope that he will for sure. That is, unless we dive deeper into the ants that Pariston is hiding, and whether or not Gyro is among them. The best place to hide that many creatures would be Meteor City, right? Since it's such a mysterious and vast place, and already had Zazan and her victims there. It wouldn't be a surprise to see them inhabit that area again. This time, the troop isn't around to exterminate the ants or to free the citizens since they're aboard the Black Whale. Once again, it seems almost too perfect that all the big players are on a ship for 2 months while the rest of the world lives as normal. Even if Gyro doesn't return as a big bad, someone else might just be planning to take over the known world with so many Nen users and specialists, no less, too far away to get in the way. And to end this video, I would just like to go over the exact passage from the manga talking about Gyro and Gon. His vicious tenacity did not allow him to forget his human memories. It was as if he were reborn into a new body while remaining himself. He left the queen's domain because his pride still considered himself a king. Gyro wasn't in a hurry. "I'll have to start over," he said. He knew preparations were necessary for major undertakings. His experience in construction made him rational and productive. Gyro left town and disappeared without encountering Gon. Whether this proved to be fortunate for either party will not be known until they ultimately meet. And that is why Gon may very likely face Gyro in his final battle of the series. But what do you think? Is Gyro's chance at becoming absolute evil just a memory? Or will he be returning in a future arc to create hell on Earth? Let me know. And if you liked the video, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already, because there is tons more Hunter x Hunter content on the way. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.